Our guests in this segment include the Sheriff of Berkeley County, Rob Blair. Rob, good to see you.
Good to see you.
It's Chief Eric Burnett, sitting up tall.
Yes, sir, sitting in the high chair.
Get that bib off of him, Bill. Did you want the crushed prunes or the strained beets today?
I'm fine with whatever you give me, sir.
Food is good no matter how served. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in. We very much appreciate your presence on the program this morning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We just did a segment in the past half hour here with Dean Olak, the lead safety officer for Berkeley County Schools, and with Superintendent Dr. Ryan Sachs, and school safety officers, part of that equation too. And this is a discussion we've had before, Rob, have had it with the previous sheriffs, plural, as well, and that is keeping schools safe. And of course, you folks put sheriff deputy in 3 of the schools. City of Martinsburg has presence in Martinsburg High School. And then after that, it becomes a matter of what you can get to and the priorities that dictate that. So Berkeley County Schools has moved to hiring 6 safety officers who are armed. They are trained and have law enforcement experience. How much involvement has your department had so far with the establishment of that program?
Dean Olak and Eric and I, we go back a long ways. We all work for the state police, so we have a great relationship. I don't think there's probably a week that goes by that we don't talk to Dean in some aspect about school safety issues. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's an immediate thing that we have to respond to, but I've talked a lot with Dean about how we can improve things in the schools, and I'd like to say I want to commend Dean, Dr. Sachs, and the school board and everyone for taking the initiative and trying to get these SSOs, SRs, whatever you call them, but school safety officers in the schools and trying to get them in every school, because our children are our most precious resource. I've said that many times, and there is no reason we should not have an officer in every school, and that's what they're working towards. I don't see where the sheriff's office could hire enough deputies to put in every school. I don't think it's practical. Mm-hmm. We're still about 6 short right now. I would love that if we could, but what they're doing is they're leading the state, I believe, in school safety, and I think it could be a good model. Of course, Berkeley County is unique. But I think other counties, smaller counties, could benefit and watch what they're doing and emulate that. And I know we have legislative support, so looking forward to getting some legislation to back them on what they're doing.
What are the powers and the differentiation of those powers that the school resource officers at the high schools have versus the safety officers that the school district is hiring?
Well, as Dean, I believe, said, they all have law enforcement experience. But
they're not active duty.
They're not law enforcement officers.
That means they can't arrest.
Right?
Is that essentially
correct?
They can detain.
Correct.
They can do juvenile petitions on a juvenile and send that through the courts.
Right.
Yes, and I think they just need maybe some solid legislation to clarify what they can and cannot do. They're going to call us when something happens. We're going to get called, and we're obviously going to respond. We have, like he said, 3 officers in the high schools, which make them in close proximity to the other schools, so they can also respond quickly if need be. But we have a great working relationship with Dean and the schools, and we want to improve upon that.
So, Rob, explain the difference between being a law enforcement officer and being a school resource officer, because obviously it's a very different role in how you're interacting with kids on a daily basis. The job is really different, isn't it?
Right. You have to have certain skills to relate to the kids, and we try to, our school resource officers try to develop relationships with them, trust relationships, work with the teachers. But when it comes down to a violent act or something, we have those officers there to handle that. And I know the last segment y'all talked about safety for the teachers. They're there also for the safety of the teachers, because unfortunately sometimes you have students that become violent and they have to be dealt with. So it's a very serious matter. I think give it as much attention to it as we can. You all talked about the school safety summit that we had. We need to have more of that. We had more. That was open to the community, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes, we interviewed the lady
Michelle.
Yes, Michelle.
Yeah, wonderful lady. Frank DeAngelis, I believe that's his name, from Columbine. I got to have dinner with him one night, and his experience through that, it was just gut-wrenching, to be honest with you. But also, out of the tragedy, he got to share some good news.
So looking forward, let's say miraculously the state funds a school resource officer in every school, and we got them in the elementary, the intermediate. Do you still see the sheriff's department and the law enforcement side staying in the high school? Is that?
I would think so.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know why we wouldn't stay in the schools. What I would like to see is more training together. If that gets to that point, that we could offer the training with law enforcement, because when something happens, we're coming, and
right.
so we need to train with one another so we know what we're doing and know how to handle each. And we talked about this out in the car. Every situation is going to, you can plan, you can have the best plans in the world, and every situation is different. So, but training is essential, and that's what, I talk about legislation, put in, I guess, require them to train with us and work with us, and I think that would be the best avenue for the kids in the schools.
Bill?
Yeah, Sheriff, I was struck by the fact that Dean said there's a prohibition of the gene pool which you could hire from. Not ex-military, ex-police, and the like. Do you still have that? You do not have that prohibition, do you? You just can hire the best qualified person regardless of their background.
When you're hiring for a deputy.
Yeah.
We don't have to have previous law enforcement experience. Now, to be honest with you, I'd prefer that if we could have officers already trained and ready to hit, because there's a difference in a little 3-week course, maybe if they're out of state certified, and opposed to 16 weeks.
Yes, sir.
So, if there's certified officers out there, put your application. We're hiring,
Including the military,
military.
police.
That, I think you get extra points for serving in the military when you go through the process with us.
But Dean implied that he did not have access to those folks through the EPIC program.
No, he does not. Yeah, he can only hire a retired police officer that has a continued 10 years experience. So that's kind of the loophole that Bloomington County has found.
Right.
Talking about the academy, how many people go to the academy but just don't make it? Do you know?
I don't have a statistic on that. I know back in 1989, 88, 89, when I was in the academy, like the first night, we had a guy leave in the middle of the night, and I think that our whole class, we lost probably 3 or 4.
Okay.
Started with around 40 or something, but
That's pretty good retention, 90%.
And it's designed to, because there's certain people that'll apply and then they think they want to do it, and then they realize probably it's.
But they apply through you, and then you send them to the academy. It kind of starts at your department, or can anybody just go and do the academy and then come to a police department and say, I want to be a police officer?
Each agency hires an individual. It's different with the state police. You have to go through the academy first, and then you come out with us. We can hire someone and then request an academy date, and the first available one, then we send. We actually have one at the academy right now doing his training. Looking forward to get him out.
He just started on Monday.
Yes.
Chief Burnett, Sheriff Blair, our guests here on the program. This may have been a better question for Dean Olak, but I didn't get a chance to ask it at the time. Maybe you know the answer to this, Rob. In regards to the school safety officers, not your deputies, but the 6 that they've hired, God forbid the worst thing happens, and there's a gunfight at the school. We've got an active shooter. Is the safety resource officer's first charge to engage or to notify you?
Well, there's the scenario I just talked about. Every scenario is different. If you're facing down someone shooting at you, I doubt you're gonna. First thing's going to be to call us. You're gonna do everything you can to survive and protect the others. So
let's assume it's somewhere else in the school, and you hear the shots, or you're notified of it by somebody in the office.
I'm positive that their policy would be to immediately call 911. But I don't know their exact how it's worded, but that would be the thing that we would suggest, and that's why it's so crucial that we train together. If we do get that call, familiarize ourselves with one another and develop those relationships between. We have a pretty large agency, 68. We're funded for 68, so we want all of our people to know who the school resource officers are, school safety officers are.
Sheriff, carrying that one step farther, let's say there was an active shooter, and and there was a SRO in an elementary, middle school, and you're called. Would you immediately take over the responsibility, you as the sheriff?
Well, we would. I wouldn't personally take it over. I'd send our SWAT team.
Yeah, your SWAT team would take over responsibility then for managing it.
We would take command
yes.
and develop it from there. But like we said, every situation is different. You can plan for the worst case scenario and just throw a little bit of a curveball to you, and then everything changes. So you just respond the best you can with your. It's why it's so crucial to train. Training is essential in these situations.
Are you coordinated with the city police as well on these?
Yes.
Rob, and the school system too with the safety officers?
Yes, we.
Do you all summit together?
The school board has a safety meeting every month that we attend, and we go over things that maybe there's some questions, and we talk about things. And I think there's a tabletop exercise soon.
Yes, sir. Next month.
Yeah, we're going to do a tabletop exercise and kind of give people guidance on what their roles are, and of course it's multifaceted. It's just not law enforcement. You're going to have EMS, you're going to have emergency. When something like this happens, the average person doesn't realize you have to have a reunification site if you're clearing kids out. Where do you go for that?
Yeah.
Parents, when I first became sheriff, we had an incident in Hedgesville, and as much as we tried, the parents started showing up, traffic backed up. I couldn't get to the school. It was, so you just do the best you can with the situation you're handed.
How much does social? Oh, go ahead, Mike.
No, I'm sorry. I wanted to switch gears just a little bit. I know we've got a really beautiful Berkeley County Sheriff's Department. Do you see a need to have substations north and south, or out in the Hedgesville area?
Funny that you mentioned that. Chief Burnett and I just attended a meeting yesterday in over with Gary Wine and some other individuals within the county about a northern satellite office that we have planned now.
On Brown Road?
On Brown Road, yes, sir.
Yeah.
We have, how many acres did they say?
4.5.
4.5 acres, and it won't just be a
Not just sheriff, it'll be a
yes. So
ambulance and fire will be
emergency services.
We're looking forward to that, because that's going to give us the opportunity to respond quicker in the northern area of the county. And we even discussed the Inwood area. There's potential there in the near future. I don't know how near the northern.
Like near like this year, or near like 6 years?
Probably several years, but it's at least being looked at. There was opportunity years ago to have that southern station, but for whatever reason it didn't happen. But they're looking at that. With the way our county's growing, it.
Yep.
We have to expand.
Odd question. Do the circles make it easier or more difficult and challenging to respond at speed?
I'm a big traffic circle guy. I love them.
I love them too.
But I think it's definitely helped Inwood. Now there's people that have no idea how to drive in one.
Most.
But going back to the Inwood, not Inwood, but the up north on Brown Road, I was surprised to find, in fact, I applaud the fact they're going to have a backup 911 facility there as redundancy.
Yes.
So if something should happen to the 911 downtown, there'll be a backup.
Yes, we talked about that
Yeah.
yesterday. Yes.
You're funded for 68 deputies?
Yes.
Are you fully staffed now?
No. We have a background process right now. I think, how many individuals?
We have 2 in the background process right now.
Chief Burnett's the man. Every time you turn left and ask a question, he's got the answer.
Well, there's a reason I brought him with me.
I've known him for about 30 years now.
He finished his sentences for him, man.
Yeah.
So we have a testing process that's going to be starting. It's starting now. The applications are going to be due in by February 28th, I believe, is the cutoff. There's going to be a testing date of March 8th. It's going to be held at the Martinsburg High School. Our starting salaries, it's low, but we're trying to work on that. It's $52,426, I believe, and then when you finish the academy, it goes to about $54,000. If you have prior law enforcement certified from this state or some other state, there's a $10,000 sign-on bonus. We'll give you up to 5 years of service, so when you come in, you'll start at $62,000 if you have a certification. Certified officers have a 2-week class down at the academy, and then you're right back working. So it's a great department. We have a great boss. We're doing a lot of good things over there, and it's going to continue.
And your active number right now is what?
62.
And that includes the SROs?
Yes, sir.
So what are the qualifications? I'm 49 years old. I have no law enforcement background, but let's say I can run a mile in whatever time. Am I qualified? Or
Yes,
I'm
sir.
18.
So they got rid of the age. So I'll be expecting to
Yeah, I
see
think
you
we
on
just
March,
did.
on March 8th.
Does he get cigarette breaks during the...
Breaking news, Mike Hornby.
Well, I want to see. Yeah, I want to see this. So let's.
Was that a
on the 8th
piece
of
of
March.
legislation that you think will help? That take removing that age restriction?
I guess we're going to see.
Right. So we haven't
we're
hired
still
any-
short. It's
Okay.
It's hard to find good people.
Right.
I think I went to the last Civil Service Commission meeting, and I believe in the past several years we went through about 57 applicants, and I believe we hired 4 to 5. So it's very stringent, and I think it's good though.
Okay.
Yeah, we want it that way.
Yeah.
62 sounds like a large number, but not with the growth of our county. So it's I think it's a low number.
Some say they should have over 100 when you do the numbers.
We were saying that back in the early 2000s, 2006, 2007, should about 105, 110. And that was a target.
148.
148
That's the new
now.
number.
Okay, but is the limitation with availability of applicants or the available money?
Maybe both. And I've said this before, and I don't want to go backwards, but I said it when it was happening. The defund the police stuff really, really hurt law enforcement. Yeah. Even sane people bought into some of it, and I think people look back and it really harmed law enforcement, and that's nationwide. When I tested, you had hundreds, if not 1,000 plus, for like 40 positions. And we would jump up and down if we got 25 to show up. 12 maybe is the most that we've had so far. So you want the best pool possible, the most community-minded people that want to make a difference in their community. And I think a lot of people were scared away from law enforcement because they saw all the negative stuff. But I think that's changing.
How is your pay scale comparing to Jefferson County? In the old days, you lost a lot of folks over there.
Well, I think our pay is a little bit higher than Jefferson County, not by much. I'm in the process right now of getting all the pay scales for all the surrounding agencies, because our major pool is coming from other states. So we have a lot of, and we're trying to compete with them. So you have like Frederick County, Virginia, Washington County, Maryland. We're trying to pull from them. We did pull in one just a few months ago out of Winchester PD, and we're trying to get some more. So, as far as that goes, so far that's been great.
We don't actively recruit
No, we don't
other
do that.
law enforcement.
They
But
just come to us.
if you have a solid officer for whatever reason wants to come to Berkeley County, we've lost them to other agencies.
Talking about that, are you losing our younger law enforcement officers once they go through the academy, they get trained, they get some experience? Are they now leaving for
We haven't,
larger federal agencies or things like that?
That's always a possibility. I think since we came in, we lost one of Martinsburg PD, and then we lost another one. But this deputy wanted to get back closer to home over in Moorfield. So
that's not a lot then.
that's not horrible.
Yeah,
No, sir.
That's not bad at all.
I know this has been a fairly active past 12 months for some high-profile crimes in Berkeley County. Your thoughts? I've only got about a minute and a half left on the overall safety of Berkeley County and your ability to serve it.
I think our officers do a tremendous job, given the resources, the manpower that we have. We have a a great CID unit that follows up on the major crimes. They've done some great work. Hopefully you get Chief Burnett's press release. Tried to be very
I do,
intentional
yes, thank you.
about getting those out so you know what's. We just had a, matter of fact, we just had a trial, if I got time to say this, Captain Brendan Hall had a trial that was the first time it's been used in West Virginia, the SAKI program, a DNA program that identified a 1990 rape case, and they went to trial and they convicted the guy of, and I believe they're going to go for recidivism on him. He's
Impressive.
He's a known offender.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in. And one, I appreciate that. Two, of course, we appreciate the work you do. And again, Chief Burnett, that next test you have coming up.
The next test is March 8th.
March 8th, how do they get in touch with somebody about registering for it or taking it?
They can stop by the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office or the Berkeley County Civil Service Commission, pick up an application, and make sure it's in by February 28th.
February 28th. Thank you
Yes, sir.
both.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Thank you all.
Stay safe, stay warm.
Yes, thank you.